thank you both for hosting this. That is incredibly generous of both of you. I am a huge fan of cloud management and a huge hater of paper and collecting paper. So I'm really excited about what you're about to see and have been a huge fan of cloud management ever since I was introduced to it a while ago. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce Jeff Wirtz first, who's from Scenios, and he is the chief evangelist for Scenios, but his day job is a producer. He produces for Bravo inside the Actors Studio and has been doing it for 17 years, I think. Seen in 120 countries. He's got 5 Emmys, 24 nominations. He's the Meryl Streep of cable television. But he really is a big fan of Scenios and has been their chief evangelist and probably is more knowledgeable about it than anyone else other than its creator. So, Jeff?
Thank you, John. And thanks to Sony and to Cruise Control for helping to make this possible today. Appreciate it very much. And to the PGA. I want to talk to you a little bit about how Actors Studio started to use Scenios in the cloud and how we transformed our whole entire production. I want to first just give you a little quick brief history on Inside the Actors Studio. We're in our 18th season. We're seen in 125 countries, and we've just started our 18th season now. We've done over 250 episodes. So far this season, we just did the cast of Glee. We just aired George Clooney last week. And we have Brad Pitt coming up this Friday on Actors Studio. So we're starting the season off with a bang. And what I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about is how, for the first 16 seasons before we transitioned our show, how we used to produce our show and many other shows that you might be working on when we were all in a traditional mobile truck, typical 40-foot mobile truck would show up to a site. We would shoot our show in standard definition, and we shot it with 6 cameras. We recorded onto the Sony Digibeta tapes. We edited, delivered, and shot and everything on tape. And it was a big transition for us to move into our 17th season when we made a transition from standard definition into high definition, and the way we did that is we switched to shooting the entire show now on the Sony EX3 cameras in the HDCam EX format, and our show became a complete tapeless workflow, which really helped us in a lot of ways because we were able to eliminate the mobile truck and switch to a digital fly pack, which basically helped us go in make a portable control room from the time that we could arrive on our set and set up for our show. Truck arrives, the mobile fly pack gets assembled. Within 5 hours, we're faxed and ready to do an episode. So we became extremely flexible in being able to use a fly pack. And one of the most important things is we were able to save 10% of our shooting budget by switching to a fly pack, going to the Sony EX3 cameras, and at the same time increasing our show to HD. And this is our control room right in here. And what we do is after we shoot an episode of Inside the Actors Studio, we then take the XDCam EX files and we transfer that into Final Cut Pro, and we use the XDCam transfer software to move all the files into Final Cut, and then we spend 30 hours or so editing a show, 6-camera ISO cam, and we crank out the show and deliver it on tape still. We're using HDCam SR to deliver to Bravo, but we're just starting to make digital files to move into the network when we deliver the show off to Bravo. One of the biggest things is how we managed our show in the first 16 years and how we then now managed our show as we made a transition into season 17. What we used to do, and over the years, is we needed a way to communicate. And as emails and all that rolled around and we developed a hodgepodge way of communicating between things like Dropbox and Google Documents and emails and DVDs for review and approval process. There was nothing really that was the glue that really helped us in being able to manage a show efficiently. Everything was eclectic. It was in a lot of different places, and that was a very inefficient way. So when we switched to season 17, we then became embraced with using Scenios, where we now had a platform that allowed us to work in a complete tapeless workflow and allowed us to manage our team in a very productive way, and more importantly is a good way to collaborate, store all of our documents, and be able to work more efficiently. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to introduce you to Mark Davis, the CEO and the co-founder of Scenios. He's going to walk you through a demonstration on how Scenios works. Mark, come on up.
Thanks, Jeff. It's great to be here tonight. I've never been to the Sony Wonder Technology Lab. This place is very cool, and thanks so much to our friends at the Producers Guild for inviting us, and to Sony for hosting us. Jeff just told the story about how he really transformed the way that he produces his show that he'd been doing for so long by moving the production process into the cloud. And he's been using the Scenios technology. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what it looks like in action. Now, I could easily spend an hour or more giving a demo. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to give you the lightning round and just the highlights. Let me pull up my browser here. And by the way, if you have any questions about the technology, I know there's a Q&A session at the end of the panel, and then with cocktails afterwards. Happy to answer any questions you may have about your particular workflow. I do my best work with a cocktail in hand. So Scenios, in a nutshell, is a virtual production office. It's based in the cloud, so there's no software to install. You just log in and start using it. And it's basically a tool to help you collaborate more effectively with your cast, your crew, your production staff, maybe even the network and the studio, whoever's touching the production. So you can do things like manage your script, your budget, your shoot schedule, distribute call sheets, even upload video. And those are the things I'm going to be showing you over the next few minutes. So I'll go ahead and log in here. And the first thing that you'll see when you log into Scenios is your dashboard. Right, so here you see recent projects that you're working on, and a project would be whatever it is to you. If it's a film or an episode of a TV show, maybe even a commercial. So whatever a project is for you, and you can see here are some recent projects that I've been working on. If you want to create a new project, it's really simple. You just click the Create New button, New Project, and you set up your new project, and there you've logged into the new project. So let me go back to my dashboard. You can see here there's a feed of recent activities. So as the producer, you can see who's been working on the project and what they've been up to. And there's also a calendar view here. So this is actually a master calendar view that pulls together all of your calendars for all of your different projects. So you can actually, if you want to, maybe I just want to see the calendar for one particular episode of a show, I can do that, or I can see all the schedules pulled together. So let's go into a project. I'm going to go into a little indie feature film called Use the Force, which, by the way, you should Google it. It's a hilarious film by a young director, J.C. Reifenberg out in L.A. So I've logged into this film, and what you see here, first of all, there's a lot of white space. So we try to keep the design really simple, really clean, so you don't need to be an IT genius to use the technology. Just sort of dive in and start using it. What you see here are a number of blue buttons. So let's just click on the one that says Production Office, and we'll go into the virtual production office. So the first thing you're going to see is your cast and crew list. Okay, so if I click on the cast and crew list, here's my cast and crew. I can click on each of these buttons to expand. Let's expand the crew, for example. So you can see for this particular project, here are the departments that we've got for this project. I can move them higher or lower if I want to. I can click to expand the department, and I can see who is in the department for that particular project. And obviously, a lot of projects that get worked on are kind of hierarchical. So if you want to arrange people in a certain order, you can do that. And you can set what the departments are, and and who's in the department. And if you want to invite somebody to connect, it's really simple. You just click add new member here. It's just kind of like connecting to somebody on Facebook. You send them an email, they get the link, they click on it. If they haven't set up their free Scenios account already, it takes about a minute. Once they do, they're connected to the project. You can begin collaborating with them. Cast is set up kind of the same way. In this particular project, they set it up with above the line, below the line, and extras, but people can set it up however they want. So let's say, for example, I want to go in and look at this individual, William Kreber. If I click on his name, what I'll see is some basic contact information, the type of information you'd expect to see on a contact sheet in your production office. I can click here, if I have permissions, I can click here to edit the user. And here what you're going to see is I can change his name, I can change the department that he's in, I could add a new department. A lot of our users like to tie a specific accounting code to each department, so maybe it'll be 1700 and then the name of the department, whatever it is. You can see basic contact info that you can change here. You can also flag information as confidential, so maybe you don't want your grips to see your above-the-line talent's home phone number. So you can hide it. So for example, check if you do not want any of the above information on the cast and crew list, and there's some other ways to set privacy as well. If you have admin privileges for the project, you'll see a little button that says Production Office Info. And if you open that up, you'll see some information, and like it says here, the information below is solely for the production office records and will be kept strictly confidential. So this is a type of information like the individual's loan out company, union affiliation, travel preferences, basic production office information, but kept really confidential, contact information, and so forth. So all the information is stored within each user. Now, some of our users actually, even though this is an online tool, let's face it, a lot of us still use paper, and paper is not going away anytime soon, and sometimes you may want to print out a crew list or a cast list. So really easy to do. So for example, if I go to crew, I can click the little print button here, and now what you're going to see is a pre-formatted crew list, and you can see, actually, if I go back into, let me go into the cast list, you can see that some of the information here is in purple. And what that means is it's confidential information. And there's a little button up here at the top that says, confidential contact info is displayed in purple. Click here to remove confidential info. So I can do that. And here you've got a standard cast list. So you can print out either a confidential cast list or a standard cast list, and same with the crew. So once you've got everybody connected, you can start to collaborate. So for example, you can upload the script. Right, so obviously in many situations you're not going to want everybody seeing the script. So if you've got admin privileges and you've set up the project, you'll see a little button up here that says permissions. And what you can do is click on there, and this is the people selector, and you'll see this throughout the site, where you can give permissions. Maybe you want to give it to everyone, maybe just the above the line talent, maybe just certain individuals. And then you click Save Selection, and it's very easy to control who sees what. Now, if I can see the script has been uploaded in Final Draft. The vast majority of our customers use Final Draft for their script. So if I click on here, I can do certain things with the script. So, for example, there's a button here that says Read. So, historically, if you wanted to read a script, generally speaking, you had to have a copy of Final Draft. But here in this type of environment, you can click Read. It's opening up what we call our Final Draft script reader, and now what you're seeing is the script within a browser. You can see it's watermarked for security reasons with the user's name, and you see the sides. Final Draft would call them index cards. Over here, you can click on it to go directly to that scene. So really easy to read the script right within a browser and to share it with the people who need to see it. You can also download the original script if you want to bring it into your local version of Final Draft. And you can even distribute the script. So if you need to get it out to certain people, you can click the Distribute button, and it opens up a new message with some pre-populated stuff for the title and a message body. You can see the script is attached. And here's the people selector again. So maybe I just want to, I decide who I want to send it to. Click Distribute, and whoever I send it to, they get a message in Scenios, but they also get it in their email client. So on their iPhone or whatever it may be, they'll get it and they can read. They can access the file that way. So now when I go back into Production Office, back into Script, back into this document, you can now see a distribution history. So it's not only important to know who you sent it out to and when, but also did they look at it, have they downloaded it. So you get feedback on when it was distributed and a record, and also when people open it, that's noted as well. There's also moving on from the script, there's a scheduling tool, right? So you've seen how the schedule works already. It's a very simple web-based calendar. So you can move things around and create new events just by clicking on it. Look at the week view and the day view. So just a very simple way to keep people in sync at a very high level for your production. Now, when you set up a new project, you'll actually be asked, how do you want to set up the schedule? Do you want to use the web schedule like this, or do you want to use a full-on shoot schedule, and do you want to upload a Movie Magic scheduling file? So you'll set your preference, and if you want to use Movie Magic scheduling, you just upload the file and you share it with the team that way. There's also a way to manage locations. So what you're seeing here, this is Google Maps happening back here. You can see for this particular project, there were 3 locations that were set, and you can see the list view of them down here. So if I click on one of the locations, what it'll do is actually take me to a bird's eye view of that location. And if you're familiar with Google, the little Google Street View guy, you'll know that you can drag him onto the map, and you can start to really visualize where you're going to be shooting that day, and so can the team. There's also a way, we have a lot of users who access this platform on their iPad, for example, maybe when they're on location or traveling. So let's say you've just arrived at the airport, you need to figure out how to get to where you need to get to. You can click the little Get Directions button. This is actually kind of crazy. There's no GPS on this computer, but let's see if it can figure out my location. It can use some Wi-Fi tools. It looks like it can. So I'm going to show route, and so here are directions. Okay, so easy to get directions. This is going to have me driving across country to LA. There you go. We'll all go. Okay, so you can also edit the location. Okay, so what you can do is you can maybe set it as an interior shot, but you can also add, a full list of location-related information. So if I click here where it says Add Detailed Info, you can see it'll expand a location info sheet, so you'll see all the types of information that you would typically expect to see on a location sheet that you can fill in here. And then all of this information is stored within Scenios, and everything is archived, and the people who need to see this information can see it. So there's a lot you can do in terms of managing locations. Call sheets is next. So, most of our customers, who handle the call sheets, whether it's the UPM or the second AD, 9 times out of 10, they've got their own Excel template. It's formatted perfectly, and it's worked forever, so there's no need to change it. So kind of the assumption is bring your own call sheet template. We can provide templates if people need one for free. But the idea is you upload the template, and then you've seen how we can distribute files. So instead of having a PA chasing everybody around at the end of the day with a piece of paper, you're distributing your call sheet almost immediately electronically, and it goes directly to people's email, and you can see who got the call sheet. If they didn't get it, you can ping them and say, hey, you're supposed to be on set at 7 o'clock. So just a very easy way to distribute call sheets. Also a way to upload the budget. Again, of course, you want to be careful about setting permissions here. Most of our customers use Movie Magic Budgeting, for example, and you just upload the budget. There's a file cabinet app where you can upload, pretty much any kind of file you can think of for your project, and you can create folders as well. And you can also set permissions for folders if you want to restrict access to certain folders. And there's also a new app that we just launched called Wrapbook. Because we heard a lot of people, and Jeff, you can speak firsthand about this. A lot of people, they say, look, when I wrap a show, it may take me 4 or 6 weeks to put my wrap book together, and I don't get paid until I submit that wrap book. So this is kind of a different idea. This is basically you create a template. This is a template for one of the large cable networks. They all have their own template, right? But you create your own template, and the idea is you sort of fill in these documents as you go. So by the time you wrap the show, you've almost got an instant wrap book. So it makes the process of putting a wrap book together a lot cheaper and a lot faster. So that's the production office, and this is how this particular production is set up. But let's face it, everybody's workflow is different, right? I mean, that's kind of what makes our productions special. So one of the key things here is that everything is totally customizable. So if you have admin access to the project, you'll see a little button down here that says Project Settings. So if I click on there, you'll see things like, how many people are connected to the project, how much cloud storage is used, but you'll see a little button up here that says Customize. And if I click on Customize, here's where I can really customize it for me. So I can upload a new logo. If it's an episode, I can add a subtitle, maybe an episode number. Here are the apps for this particular project. I can add, I can move apps higher and lower in the stack. What if I don't use, Edit? A wrap book. I can click on Edit, and I can actually hide this app. I click Save, and now when I go into Production Office, Wrapbook is gone. So it's easy to remove apps that you don't need. It's also easy to create new apps. So maybe you want to create a new app to track your equipment, let's say. You'll see a little button here that says Add a Custom App. And if I click on that, it says adding a custom app is really easy. Select a template. And maybe I want to make it a file cabinet where I can store documents. And maybe I'll call this Equipment. Create this app. I'm going to set permissions. You're familiar with this process. Maybe I'll just give it to the Production Office and save selection. And I'll get a little message. You have just created an app. You are hereby certified a computer genius. Congratulations. So now, when I go into the Production Office, here's the app that I've just created for Equipment. And so really easy to add, remove apps, and really customize. So that's the Production Office. And by the way, for those of you who produce television, obviously if you want to create a project, if you create a project, you're not going to want to have to recreate it every time. So you can go into project settings, and you may have noticed there's a little button here that says duplicate. So you can duplicate any project for your next episode. Saves a lot of time. I know I'm running low on time here, so let me just highlight a couple other things. You've got the Production Office, which we've just looked at, but there's also a whole video management piece for Scenios where you can upload files and really collaborate with your team. So here are 3 apps that I've set up for this project. You can set up whatever apps you like, but let's go into Rough Cuts, and you can see here that a number of videos have been uploaded. If I click on one of the videos, it opens up a window where I can do stuff with it, right? So first of all, even though this was a high-def source file, in this case it was ProRes, Final Cut, it was uploaded. What I'm seeing here is a low-res preview copy. So if I'm, in an airport or wherever I need to be, I can review the footage in a low bandwidth kind of a situation. Now I can click here and see basic information about the clip, which is fine. I can change the file name if I need to. There's also a tool here called ShotLog, and people use this a lot. And basically it's very simple. Instead of, a lot of people use shot logging. They may have an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe they'll have a PA sitting there typing time code. Not the most efficient way to do it. This way you're kind of doing it actually on the video. So just like it says here, start playing the video. Okay. Mark your endpoint. Mark your out point. This guy's talking about Simon in this shot. Add my comment. And now you can see I've just logged the shot. Now I can click there, and it takes me directly to that shot. And people are using this tool not only for shot logging, but also for review and approval. So a lot of people are, an editor will upload a rough cut, and the producer can make comments right on the timeline. And we had a bunch of users ask us if we could add a little check mark over here as well. So if a change has been made, they can check it off to say that change has been made. So people are really using the shot log, actually more so for review and approval. There's also distribution history. So just like you saw, we can distribute a call sheet. We can just as easily distribute a video file, or rather a link to that video file. You can download the clip if you want to bring it into your Final Cut. And you can also even email out a screening copy. So if you want to send a video clip to somebody who's not connected to the project for whatever reason, you can send them a web page, and it's basically a self-destructing web page. You say it self-destructs in 24 hours, 48 hours a week, but you can get the streaming copy out that way. A couple other things I want to highlight. You can send messages out to Scenios, to the team, and again, these are all synced up with your email client. So every email message about the project is archived and searchable by keyword as well. And you can also assign tasks to people. I'm running low on time, so I won't really go into this, but it's very easy to assign a task. If you assign a task, the person gets an email. They have to either accept or decline the task, and when they do, there's workflow alerts going back and forth. And by the way, you can see some of these due dates are in green, some of them are in red. If it's red, it's late. And actually everybody sees everybody else's tasks, so there's complete transparency across the team. Now, in the limited time I have left, we're actually making an announcement tonight, because today, right now, we're putting out a press release that we're launching a new version of Scenios. It's called Scenios Real-Time, where we are adding a whole layer of real-time collaboration tools, and I'll just show you quickly what I mean by that. You see up top here, this is the real-time bar for us. You can set your status as being online, or maybe you don't want people to see that you're online. I can see here that there are 6 other people that I'm connected to across my various projects that are online right now. If I click on one of the person's name, I can do things like send him an IM, or I could even send a text message. And it'll send a text message directly to their mobile device, whatever number you have in the system, and they can reply directly there as well. you can also, there's a little button here that says conference room. And there, for each project, there's a button that says conference room. When you go into there, you can actually video conference live with your team. So when I turn on my camera here, you'll see me, you'll see the people that are connected. So it's similar in a sense to Google Hangouts, but it's secure, it's within this environment. So if you you need to have a production meeting, but maybe you can't get everybody in the same city, you can have your production meeting online. Same thing with script read-throughs. And there's no crazy complicated system. You just say, hey, meet me in the conference room, and you're live, and you can collaborate with people. So that, I know I'm out of time. So that, in a nutshell, is what we mean by a virtual production office and a cloud-based platform. So with that, why don't I hand back to Jeff? And Jeff, I think you're going to talk about some of the benefits you've seen with your show.
Thanks, Mark. That was a great presentation. Our show has benefited from using Scenios and going to a tapeless workflow and such, is that we've been able to really streamline and become a much more efficient company and production group. We're able to move faster by going in and shooting in the fly packs and using the EX3 cameras. We've really been more efficient to get our production down into less than, into a 5-hour range to be ready to shoot. And what I like about this is I don't need a big entire IT staff. I can be up and worrying about not computers and hard drives and things like that. I can focus on producing a show and concentrate on what we're there for. One of the things about Scenios is, for our team, is we know software to install, very simple, easy to operate, and up and running. The pricing point is very simple. It's affordable for all production companies, and that's a good selling point for us. And what I like about it is we can work virtually anywhere. My team can work from the field, from home, anytime, any place, wherever you need to be. And as an editor, I really enjoy the shot log feature for my production team to be able to log shots, and now we can have search functionality in Scenios as well. That really helps us. And when I'm done with my project, I want to know that I can archive it, put together all of my files, my collaboration, my communications, my video. Everything can now be bundled, closed up, and put off into the archive, and I can come back and revisit that project in the future, and everything's intact. I don't have to go searching all over the place for material, which is important. And it also helps us if there's any questions from the network about something that may have happened a couple of seasons ago. It's all there. It really just makes it so much more cost-effective and efficient. And really what we're all about is becoming more productive and more profitable as we have these tighter budgets and things. So we've really experienced this on Actors Studio and embraced it a lot. And I think it's a great tool for us as well. I think, as you'll see, if you give it a try, and check it out. Great. With that, I'd like to bring back John Haddady. And John?
This is Jim Fitzgerald, and he's the founder of Lightspeed. And Jim actually has he's a hyphenate because he does have a production background, but he also has a very strong IT background, and he's held several production roles in television pilots, in feature films, and in stage, the theatrical world. And he's provided a lot of technology solutions for a lot of major companies, including Viacom, right, Sony, and what's the other one? Universal Music, yes. Right? So it'll be interesting to actually hear a little bit about one of the competitors.
Yes, I just want to first say thank you very much to the Producers Guild for organizing this and Sony Pictures Entertainment for hosting it. I welcome any opportunity to talk about these technologies and how I hope in the future they'll be transforming the way in which we share information on productions. So excuse me while I just get this going, and that should be fine. Okay, and I'll just put this up in the back while I talk a little bit. So if I wander too far from the mic, just let me know, because I don't want... Is this one? Good. I think it's clearly an understatement to say that the internet has transformed the business of entertainment over the past 10 years. There's been a lot of ups and downs. And what I'm going to be showing you tonight is one way that the internet can actually enhance the way in which we produce feature films and television productions and anything else episodic, whether we're talking about web series, documentaries, and so forth. Lightspeed was something that we created a few years ago. We finally launched it last year, and it was really created from the experiences that myself and others had firsthand when we worked on these productions. And if I can summarize what these problems were in maybe one sentence, it kind of came down to I, as a crew member, don't have all the information that I need to sufficiently do my job. And if I was going to be less kind, I might say the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing on some of these productions. And that was frustrating for the crew members. I do a lot of focus groups on cloud production. And when I do these focus groups, I like to ask people, how do you today get the information that you need? And 90% of the time, the answer is, well, I call the person who has the information. So if I want to know, did we get that location secured, call the location manager. You know, or did we change Tuesday's schedule? Are we still shooting at the bar? Let me call the UPM, or let me call the AD and find out what I get. But what happens if that person's not available? What happens if that person's on a call or even two calls because their call waiting is in use? Ultimately, you know, we have bottlenecks. And the system that's typically in place in a lot of these productions is just rife with bottlenecks. So a system like that really kind of screams out for a tool like Lightspeed or like Scenios or some of the other ones that are out there now. Just now, Jeff went over a few benefits that they've gotten from moving to Scenios, and let me throw a few more out there. When you're in a cloud environment, number one, you never have to worry about upgrading your software. So, I mean, how many people out there are using software that's basically off the shelf, shrink wrapped, you load it on your laptop, and then it's not compatible with your operating system? You know, you have to upgrade it, or there's some other problem. With the cloud, you know, it's something like Google Maps. When's the last time anyone ever had to worry about upgrading Google Maps? It just doesn't happen. You know, it's all happening on the back end. Also, backups. Your information is always backed up. So if your AD drops a laptop, or if something gets stolen, or the files get lost, you don't have to worry about it anymore, because now it's all on a secure server, and typically it's replicated to various geographic locations. You know, I can speak from my own product. Our information is located in 2 metropolitan cities. It's backed up every 24 hours. So if Los Angeles was completely wiped out by an earthquake, all the information is secure in another city. And then finally, we have the ability to automate tasks. And this personally is my favorite. This is the most interesting part for me, because since we have all this information in a centralized system, we have the crew list, and we have their contact details, and we have the schedule, and we know where we're shooting, we can start to now automate a lot of tasks. And one example of that is creating a call sheet. I mean, right now, I'd say 95% of call sheets are made in Microsoft Excel. And what you do, second AD, is they'll take it and they'll open up the template and they'll just kind of like, you know, manually retype in all the information for tomorrow instead of today. When you have all this information, you can create a call sheet and pre-populate it in literally 2 seconds. And if everything looks good, 2 more mouse clicks and your entire cast and crew has it. So there are opportunities like that when you're working with an online system like this. A friend of mine who's a director and a writer, and he and I talk about technologies that are being used, and he said something which I thought was really interesting, and I like to repeat it. And what he said is he's amazed at what people are doing today with CGI, with some of the previs applications that are out there, with just in general, the things you can do in post really are amazing. And then he said, why is it that when it comes to day-to-day physical production, why are we still in 1995? Because ultimately, people are kind of relying on, let me make a file and let me email it to you. You know, and really that kind of breaks down after a while. So with that said, let me, you know, go into this, because also I'm going to have to keep track of my time, and our time is short. And what I want to start with is, let me show you what Lightspeed looks like. So we'll go here. It's accessed via a browser because we're on the internet. This is our main web page. And let me tell you what Lightspeed is. We designed it to be an entertainment production management system that can offer something for absolutely everyone in the cast and crew. Doesn't matter who you are. So we have things like script pages, we have scheduling, we have locations, we have call sheets. It's all up there. And then what we tried to do was we tried to take it to one more level. And that one more level was customized information per person. Since we have all this information and we know who you are, we know what your contact details are, if you prefer to receive emails, if you prefer to receive text messages on your phone, we know if you're a cast member what role you're playing, we can start to give you customized information like your individual call time or your script pages with your own personalized watermark, your name. And if you're a cast member, let's highlight your lines and only your lines. So you get all this automatically. So someone in the production office, you know, the poor PA that's working I don't know how many hours and on the photocopier and getting all these things done, they can get this out to the entire cast and crew in a matter of seconds. All right, so let me just actually, in the benefit of time, let me just go through and let the application kind of speak for itself. So you go to the main site. There's a login button up here, and it takes us to our login screen. I am going to go into this. And what I'm doing now is when a person logs in, when you log in, and by the way, this is free. Feel free to go to our site, sign up for a free trial. You can get this tomorrow. We have no limit on the free trial. You can start it today, and 5 years from now, it will still be active. You're gonna be greeted with a list of your productions. So here are the productions that we have, or that this individual has, and you can see that, you know, here he has a feature film. Here's another feature film. We've organized it by start date, but you can organize it any way you want. In the case of an episodic, let's say that you have a TV show, there's one particular episode that we allow you to mark as the current one or the default one. This is the one that everyone's working on. So in that case, we're going to show you the episode number. So for that particular episode number, here's the start date and here's the day that you're on in terms of the production. Then here's some information about the production company, but let me actually go ahead and go into the production. And one thing I do want to point out is that the way in which our workflow works is that you can create a production and invite others to that production. And it's very similar to how Scenios does it. So you want to add someone, invite them. When someone is invited on their production list, they're going to get a new production that says new. And then if they click on that, they can choose to decline the invitation or accept the invitation. And if they accept, they're welcomed on the crew and they're a part of everything. But let me go into Merlin. This is what a production looks like when you go in. So first thing I want to point out is what we did along the top is we tried to structure the navigation tabs in the chronology that one would follow when they're setting up and actually running a production. So we have home, then project. This is where you're going to set up your project, give it a name, set the preferences, get your cast and crew onto the system, import a script. In the case of something that's non-scripted, you can actually just break down your work into various units and schedule it that way. Elements, so your AD can actually break up the elements and get that list going. And then your key crew members, once they're on the show, can then take those elements and go out and get the actual production elements. So if the show calls for the 18-wheeler truck that you need for the highway scene, the AD can document that, and then you can have your transportation captain go out and actually get the thing. Schedule. So this is where you're going to have your production calendar, your strip board. Let me show you what that looks like real quick. Your strip board sets, because you have an unlimited number of strip boards in this, and then your call sheet once you have one published. And then finally, reports. And reports is where you can do all the industry standard reports like your date of days, your shooting schedules, your strip boards, your crew lists, call sheets, production reports. We'll even let you generate an Exhibit G, which is completely SAG compatible, and you can fax it right over. One also thing I want to point out is that when you log into the system, the information that you have access to is completely dependent on your role. So if you're logged in as a director, in fact, I'm logged in as a director into this right now, I'm going to have access to a lot more information than I would if I was logged in as a grip or, you know, transportation driver. And an example of that is ADs can import new scripts, they can break them down, they can hand out elements. Location managers can create locations, and they can put in information like permit information and maps and all that. But what I'd like to do now is just show you some of the individual features so you can kind of get a sense of what we can do. Now, in the interest of time, I am by far not going to be able to show you all the features that we have, but I want to concentrate on some that I think you're going to find the most interesting. And the first thing I'll point out is cast and crew. So here is our cast and crew list. And for each individual, we're going to have information about like their contact details, address, phone numbers, office number, cell number. We allow you to, we thought this was kind of a cool feature, allow them to assign them an assistant, and then you can actually have the assistant receive their information on their behalf. Any images, headshots, the positions that the person holds. So if you're running like a low-budget independent and people are wearing multiple hats, give them multiple positions. And the cool thing about that is that if someone's a location manager and an AD, I can't imagine that, but if you did, you'd have someone who in this system could both set up locations and break down a script. Preferences. So every person has individual contact preferences. How do they want the system to communicate with them? Do they want to receive things via email, via text? Do they want to subscribe when call sheets get published, production reports? When call sheet changes occur, do they want to get notified automatically? The scene changed, the location changed, the day changed, or their call time changed. Adding someone is very much like what you just saw. So basically you want to add someone to the production. So we do it by email, do a search for their email, and if they're a Lightspeed registered member, then you can find them and immediately add them. If they're not, we still allow you to add them to the production. So you'd basically create an account on their behalf, and they would never even need to respond. Like let's say that you have someone who is a driver. They're working 16 hours a day, driving the trucks. They're never going to have a chance. Maybe, you know, on their smartphone, they might have the ability to do a few things, but they're so busy, they're probably not going to have a chance to really register. You can still set them up in here and make them a consumer of information. And that's one of the cool things about the cloud technology, is that our system is structured, and I think most systems are structured, where you can have some people that are producing information and putting it up there, and then other people are just consuming it. You know, someone puts up a location, everyone gets that information. They get the map, they get the directions. So let me cancel out of that. Let me show you how we handle script import. And script import is a little bit different from what you just saw with Scenios, so I kind of want to go into that. So with script, there are two things that we have here for that. One is the breakdown. And this is, I think everyone here is probably familiar with a script breakdown. With our breakdown view, we have a list of the scenes on the left side, and then over here we have the breakdown page for that particular scene. And this is where your AD or a line producer or whomever up front can actually import a script, get all the scenes listed, and then do the breakdown for the purposes of budgeting and scheduling and everything else. Now, we maintain multiple script revisions so that as you're importing your scripts, you can import one on top of the other, and we automatically do a script comparison, determine which scenes and pages have changed, update the page colors, and then allow you to distribute those pages as you desire. And I'll show you an example of that. We're currently looking at revision 3, which is on pink pages, and I can go over here, and I can actually say, okay, I want to view the script pages for scenes 1 to whatever. I can also view script pages by page number, or if we've published a shooting schedule, by shoot days. So it can say, show me the scenes for shoot day 5, and you're going to get all those right in a row, which is great for distributing sides. But let's go to pages, and let me go pages 6 through, 14, and then boom, we're now looking at these script pages. Now, one of the things I want to point out, and this took us a lot of work, so I do want to mention it, is what you're looking at right now is not a PDF. When we import a script, we break it down, we parse it out line by line, word by word, and then we reassemble it. And it would have been much simpler for us to just put a PDF up there and let you look at it. The reason that we did that is we wanted to give you the control to say, I now have my script up here. I want to be able to distribute a single scene, or I want to be able to distribute a single page or the sides for a particular shooting schedule, or because once you've actually said these cast members are playing these roles, I now know that this cast member is playing the role of John. So when I distribute pages to this cast member, I can highlight John's lines because we figured all that out. And we know, because we parsed out the script, which lines are John's lines. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. When you're printing or distributing script pages, you're going to have options like this. Do you want to distribute full pages? Do you want to distribute sides? Do you want to apply a watermark? If so, do you want the person's name? Perhaps you want the name and the date. And at a production level, you can actually enforce watermarks. If you have limited administrative rights into the system, if you're someone who is a producer, someone at the top of the hierarchy, you can actually say, we are going to watermark everything. Or you can make it optional, or you can just turn it off completely. If I was a cast member, I would have the option to highlight my lines right now, but I'm not. And then I'll just go ahead and print this. And we'll see what it looks like. And here it is. So hopefully you can see this. We have the script pages and the watermark. It might be easier to see here. The watermark is diagonal, the person's name, and today's date. So that's nice because, I mean, if anyone has ever had to manually watermark scripts, in fact, let me just ask, has anyone ever had to manually watermark scripts or been in a production office where it was done? How long did that take? Yeah. With this, what you can basically do is you can go to the email button, and first you select exactly what you want to distribute, and then select recipients, and you can get it out to, it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 people or 2 people, it will take about 30 to 60 seconds. So, and everyone has a custom watermark. So that's nice. After you've imported a script, one of the things that you'd want to do then is you would break it down. And then when you break it down, you're going to have your list of elements. And those of you who are familiar with Movie Magic scheduling, you're probably going to see a lot of similar features here because really we're actually doing a lot of the same features. You've broken down your script. Here's your element list. You can manage your elements. The elements are in all the different categories. So do we have elements for, is it characters, props, extras, etc.? And then after you break it down, the next step typically when you're in prep is all the key crew members are going to be responsible for their little category, right? So makeup is going to take a list of, well, here's all the makeup elements, and let me get all those ready. The scars, maybe the prosthetic, special effects, vehicles. And they can take a look at this list, and they go out into the real world, find these items, rent them, get the deals, secure them. And this also includes locations and casting. Because when you have your characters, you can actually give your character list to your casting department. Casting can cast those roles and then update our system with who they've casted. And then your casting is basically tracked here online. And you can get a report that shows you exactly what elements have been secured and which ones have not, which ones are in progress. And you can get that daily. You can see exactly where everybody is. But when we're looking at an individual element, you can see over here on this side what scenes it's in, what elements are linked to it. So this is where the ADs are really going to kind of dig into this and get the breakdown done really, really well. I'll show you production elements real quick. We do distinguish between production and script elements. The quick distinction is if it appears in the script as a noun, it is a script element. So the scene that says the hitchhiker walks along the highway and gets a ride with a truck. But on the production side, you're going to have to cast the hitchhiker, so there's going to be an actor for that. You're going to have to find the highway location, so Location Scout's going to go out and find that, and then you have to rent the truck. So all of those things are what the keys are going to do. Then they're going to come back here, upload the information, and everything gets tied together. And then when you do things like tie a set to a location, then we can do things like automatically generate directions, we can automatically populate the call sheet, and so forth. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down and show you a location. So here's a location that's set up. So we have a Balboa house in Encino, California. You can put pictures up here if you want. here is a list of all the scenes. I'm sorry, the sets that it's used for. Now, one of the things I want to point out now, we're looking at a feature film. With television, there's actually more functionality for this because you can reuse the same set for different episodes. So the benefit there is put in the location once, never again have to do it, because every single additional episode is not a new project, it's not a new production, it's just another episode within this production. And you just keep adding them. And then when you create a new episode, you have the option of, do I want to replicate all the settings from the previous episode? Do I want to carry over the entire cast and crew? Because typically, 80% of those people are probably going to be the same. So you just start from that, and then you just change the difference. Also, you can do a location report. So a location report is something that once you've uploaded a map, you have directions, you have the address, you can just generate this instantly. And the cool thing is that you can add what we call points of interest. Where's the nearest hospital, police station, copy center, Chinese restaurant, whatever it is that you want. And your locations department can go in here and put as many of these as they want, and they're permanently attached to this location. Also, points of interest, you only have to enter them once. So if you're shooting in like a 10-mile radius and it's the same hospital, just use that same hospital for all of your locations. Let me move on to scheduling. And again, this is a little bit more nuts and bolts with the AD, but I want to show you how it works. So we do our own strip boards. So rather than relying on the Movie Magic file, you can do it right here. And you create the strip board. You can view the strips, various formats. Let's take a look at it with the synopsis. We support an unlimited number of strip boards. So you can create 10 any which way, one optimized for cast, one for location. And then you can apply one when you publish the schedule. Only one at a time, obviously, is going to be used. And then the strip board editing is very, very simple. So, go into an edit mode, and you basically have, here's what's currently scheduled. Here's what's unscheduled. And I can very, very easily make a change, drag and drop the strip, so your ADs can go in here and update this in a couple of seconds, and then when they save it, they no longer have to worry about then emailing the file around and hoping that other people have a license for Movie Magic software. Because if you have a browser, you can view it in real time, and it's done. And that also applies to changes to the production schedule, the shooting schedule, the call sheets, because since everything is tied together in this one system, you move that strip, everything is instantly updated. Nothing else has to change. I think I'm going to have time for this. Let me show you what it looks like to import a script. So how easy this is. So here's our list of script revisions. We currently have 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 4th. And the project that we're in is called Merlin. So I'm going to call this Merlin Revision 4. And you can choose which page color you want to go to. The industry standard colors we have. We maintain up to 20 different generations of that. I'll go to the next one, which is yellow. I'm going to select a file. Now, when you're importing a script, we allow you to do it 2 ways. You can do it manually or automatic. Automatic, we greatly recommend because it takes about 30 seconds to import and do an initial breakdown of a script. But if you have an AD who really, really, really likes doing things the old way, you can do it manually. And manually is they type in every scene one at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the file. Now, we're able to import, parse, and break down PDFs, Final Draft 7 and 8. We also support Tagger. Does anyone here use Tagger? Have you heard of Tagger? Okay, it's not a well-known product. Final Draft Tagger allows you to go into your script, break it down beforehand, and then export it. And then also .sex files. So if you're one of the few people that is using that format, we import that directly. I'm now going to upload. So what I'm doing now is I'm just copying the file to our server. And I'll tell you right now, our servers are located in Chicago. A quick note on security. Everything that we do here is encrypted with 256-bit security. We use a 2048-bit key for that. And the data center that we chose is in a vault. It's in a city that probably has the lowest incident of natural disasters. And believe it or not, it's a tiny bit greener. We ran the numbers on energy specs. It's about 5% greener than your typical data center just because Chicago is colder. So, you know, I mean, one of the goals of a system like this is to go green. If you want to have a green production, if you want to go paperless, use a cloud system. And the one thing that we're always trying to do is we actually query our server provider on, you know, what's your AC bill and is it better, and, you know, what was the weather like. So we're actually doing pretty good on that as well. So now we've uploaded the script, and I'm going to continue. And we're going to have a little bar at the bottom. Here's what we're doing. We're now going through that script line by line, page by page, word for word, and we've completely parsed it out and divided it up into about 1 million pieces. We're done. Let me go to next. And this is the script. Here's our scene list, interior, exterior, the set, day, night, number of pages. I'm going to go next again, and we're going to see what is called the script comparison screen. Now, the way that this works is the very first time you import a script, import it, break it down, you're done. When you import a subsequent script, chances are, I mean, the reason that you have another revision is because there are changes, there are revisions. What we do here is we compare the two scripts because we know what every line is, and we identify which scene contains those changes. And we show it to you. And we allow you to actually go through and see what scenes are 100% match and which ones have slight differences. And the differences could be things in, it's a new character, it's a different set, the number of pages is a little bit longer, right? Or it was omitted. And then what we let you do, the purpose of this is we want you to transfer your breakdown from the old script to the new one. Because you've probably invested a lot of time and energy in that first breakdown, and we allow you to have a separate breakdown per script revision because scripts can have different characters, sets, everything can be different. So it makes sense, let it have its own breakdown. So what we're doing right now is we're matching up the scenes. We match up the scenes, and then once we know that scene 1 in the old script is scene 1 in the new script, the breakdown for scene 1, let's transfer it. All those elements, the characters, all the work that was done by the ADs. We've now transferred that. We'll go to next. We now have a chance to do a final review. Here's the scenes for that. And this script is actually pretty big. I think it has about 120 or 130 scenes, 116. Now I'm going to finish. And we now have our new revision. So this revision is a completely independent entity. It's yellow, and we can read it right now. And if I want to make it the default for the production, I'll just say use this revision, set it as the default. And now we're going to use that script for our breakdown, for our shooting schedule, for everything else. So uploading a new revision and identifying the changes and transferring everything over takes that long. Okay, I got about 7 minutes left. What I'd like to show you now is, and I really wish I could show you more, but I'm going to try to show you one thing that I think is kind of cool, is I'm going to create and distribute a call sheet. So if I go to my production calendar, here's today. Crew call was 7 a.m. It's shoot day number 22. These are the scenes that we shot. All of these things are linkable, so I can click on this. It'll take me to the call sheet for today. I can click on this. It'll take me to the stripboard schedule, or I can click on any one of these scenes and go to that. But it looks like tomorrow we have 3 scenes for shoot day number 23. So let me go to reports. And this is a case where we really tried to automate a task that typically may have taken an hour or two and get it down to about 30 minutes. And this is a list of all our call sheets, so we have a history. We can take a look at each one of these. And for a given day, by the way, we also have an archive. So if a particular day had multiple call sheets, then we actually automatically archive them as they're edited and saved. So you can see, oh, the first call sheet was this day, and they're all time-stamped. But I think people are usually most concerned with the latest. And that's another benefit of this, is that, yeah, information is instantly accessible, but when you have one source, when it's no longer, is this the yellow crew list or the blue crew list, it's always the latest crew list. And it's nice to have something on paper, but if you have a smartphone and you have cell access, then you can get the latest crew list in about 10 seconds. So let's create tomorrow's call sheet. So what I'm going to do is I have an option. I can create a separate call sheet for the second unit. We have a second unit in this production, but I'm going to go with main. I'm going to create. It automatically populates with tomorrow's date. Let me save. And we have pre-populated tomorrow's call sheet. So what we do is for the call times, we actually use yesterday's, or today's rather, because we figure that typically there's a 24-hour turnaround, but you can always change that. Scrolling a little bit further down, we automatically populate sunrise and sunset times based on where you are located, and we just basically query the naval base time servers for that, and we get that instantly. Here are the scenes that are being shot. Here's the locations, total pages. Here's our cast list, if they're on hold, if they're working. Any stand-ins, background, any special requirements for different departments. Here's the advanced schedule for the next 2 days. And then we go to our back page, and here is our crew, divided by department. So what I can now do is I can say, well, you know, we're really not going to need this dolly grip for tomorrow, so I'm going to remove him from the call sheet, and the script supervisor gets to sleep an extra 20 minutes, and now I'm going to save this, and if those are the only changes that I need to make, we now have a preliminary call sheet. I can now make it final. So I'm going to make it final, and when I finalize it, it's going to ask me, how do I want to notify people of the new final call sheet? Well, I want to deliver call times via email and mobile texts. And this is where people are actually going to get their specific call time. Your call time tomorrow is 7 a.m. I'd also like to email the call sheets because they probably want to see maybe what the rest of their department is doing, or everyone's used to having their own call sheet, so let's keep doing that. And are you using our location management module? Because if you are, locations probably has the maps and directions and all that information in there. So do we want to automatically attach the Lightspeed generated location reports, or do you want to use your own? I'll say OK. And this is now final published. And I should get a notification for my call time. And my call time, and there it is. And since I am the script supervisor, my call time is 7:20. So if I go here, I have a text message with that time, and I also have 2 emails, one with my location and one with the call sheet. Also, let's say that we have a change, and I'm not going to get to sleep late. I now have to come in at 7 a.m. I'm going to save it. And the change to the call sheet only affected me. So what we're going to do is we're going to send me a particular text that says that my call time has now changed, and that's it. So you can do that with every member of your production. Additionally, you can always email the call sheet. So if you decide that, well, even though we made a change to only this one person, let's actually, make sure that everyone has a copy of that because we want them to see that. And you always have that option. So let me return. I think I have 2 minutes left. The last thing that I will show you is this. I'm now going to log in as an actor. And I'll just show you real quickly that the screen is going to look a little bit differently for a cast member because they have access to fewer items than does a director. And I want to show you what line highlighting looks like because I think it's cool. So this particular person only has one production on their list. They will go into it. Notice that their homepage, which contains things like notifications and production reports, status updates, is a lot slimmer on this person. Also, we know that their call time for tomorrow is now published, and they know what location they have to go to right on their dashboard. And let's go to script revisions. And this person is playing the role of Merlin, who doesn't appear until I think page 14 or so. So let's do that. Highlight my lines. And now when we go down here, we can see that his lines are highlighted and no one else's. And if he prints it, he's going to get a copy with his lines highlighted. And every actor that I've worked with has really loved that feature. Let's do it without the watermark. And there we go. Highlighted lines. So hopefully that gives you an overview of some of the things that can be done with cloud technology products. I'm happy to answer any questions about this. I mean, I really just kind of scratched the surface as to what we do here, but I'm glad that everyone was able to make it and see this, and I look forward to the Q&A session afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
All right.
Well, I guess, so we've got 3 microphones. Oh, this one doesn't work? Okay. Well, who's going to do the Q&A for Scenios? I mean, who's going to respond to the questions? You, Mark?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll tag team.
Okay, well, why don't you guys come up here? Thank you both for doing this. And here, I'll let you share this mic. Thank you both for all 3 of you, actually.
Oh.
And I want to open the floor to questions, but I want to ask the first one because it was about security, and I didn't understand, Jim. I understand the 2 different locations, but I didn't understand the BPS and the MPS and the MRS and the numbers. So can you translate it for me? And I'm curious to know about both of you, like. Security with respect to, can anybody get into my stuff? What's
okay. I will say this. About 12 years ago, before I got heavily involved in entertainment, I actually worked for some hospitals, and I was involved in. Is anyone familiar with HIPAA? Okay. HIPAA is very, very strict laws about security with medical records. So there's a reason why I'm going off on this tangent. The biggest problem we had was getting physicians to remember their passwords. And that was the security hole. So my answer to your question is Lightspeed, and I'm pretty sure Scenios as well, uses what's called bank level security. And what it is that when you're on Citibank, Bank of America, whatever bank you use online, and you get that little green bar at the top, or it says HTTPS, everything that you're doing is encrypted. And it's encrypted in a way that if someone wanted to decrypt that, it would probably take them 25 supercomputers that haven't even been invented yet to run for a year straight to do it. So that's the kind of encryption that we have. So if someone were to tap into your wire, they just couldn't figure anything out. However, the weakest link is always going to be, what's your password? So if you give up your password, then security's out the window.
Got it. Same thing for Scenios, yeah?
Yeah, listen, I mean, security is a really important question, and it's something people should be thinking about, right? And, with any new technology like this, if you're familiar with the acronym FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about any new technology. You had it with banking. When that first came out, people were like, well, I'd never use a website to do my banking, and now you don't even think twice about it. So people have security questions now, and rightly so. There's a couple pieces of advice that we give people. First of all, put it in perspective, right? Think about it. You've got data right now. Did anybody hear the nightmare story about Francis Ford Coppola, who had one of his hard drives stolen from his house somewhere in South America, which had 5 years worth of family footage? This is Francis Ford Coppola. You can Google it. And he ended up writing an open letter to the thief begging to get the hard drive back. Right, so this is just one horror story, right? But there's risk in having data. You have data now; it's on your hard drive. There's risk. The hard drive could crash, it could get stolen. So the question is, how do you minimize that risk? And if you look at, using these cloud-based type of solutions, the numbers would say that it's actually safer to put your data in this type of environment, these types of data centers, which do have redundancy, like Jim and like with Scenios. But you should make informed decisions. You should understand what the risks are. When you're looking at a technology like Lightspeed or Scenios, understand what their security policies are. They should post them. They're not going to post all of them, but they'll post the highlights of what their security policies are. And they should also back that up with something called a service level agreement. And what that means is, if you're on location Sunday night at midnight, you need your data. You can't have that site going down. You need to make sure it works. So make sure that there's a service level agreement saying that there's guaranteed uptime. So for example, Scenios, we guarantee 99.999% guaranteed uptime. What that means is it's not going to be down for more than 5 minutes a year. If it is, then there's a refund that gets issued. So there are certain things that you should look for when you look at security, and these are the types of examples of things that people should look for.
Cool. Jerry.
As with any cloud-based data, what do you do when you don't have Wi-Fi, 3G on set? Do you have any functionality that's available offline that you can, I don't know, edit documents, save them, and edit them on set, or you have no access at all when there's no internet? Either both of you.
I can speak for Lightspeed. We get asked that question a lot. In fact, last year we got asked that question so frequently that we built an offline module. And what the offline module does is you log into Lightspeed, you download the offline component, you get it running on your local system, and then at that point, from that point on, you have the power to download a specific project, work on it offline, and then when you're done, upload the changes.
Yeah. We're taking a slightly different approach, and I think your approach makes sense. Because sometimes you can't get online. I think the challenge that you have when you have an offline module, and by the way, we're releasing one as well. It just makes sense. It's coming out in March. But our offline module is slightly limited by design. So our offline module is read only. So you can't make any changes when you're offline, because what we found is if you do have multiple people making offline changes, when you then try and sync them up, you've got version control issues, and somebody has to manually go in and say, all right, this is the current one, this is not. I think both approaches make sense, but clearly, particularly in production environments, if you do not have online access, these are some questions people are going to have.
Yes.
First of all, thanks for coming out. They both seem like really impressive programs, and I'd be excited to try either one. My question is kind of broad and two-part. Have you guys approached studios, and what has been their response to this kind of VPO system? And other department heads besides the producing team, have you heard from how their reactions have been? For instance, I could see potential for a lot of the inputting, a lot of the workload to fall directly on the production office, because a lot of department heads just don't want to change. And I'm just curious what some of that feedback has been from you guys.
Yeah, so the studios are funny, right? I mean, they've been trying to make decisions, and networks too, make decisions about having a business-wide system that everybody uses, and they've been trying to do this for years, and they've struggled to make the decision. What we're finding with our technology is, we're not going in and talking to the heads of studios, and we're talking to some of them, but we're not specifically giving them a sales pitch. What we're actually finding is that it's the lower level staffers on different shows who are just starting to use it, and they share it virally with each other, and it starts to sort of spread virally throughout the business. So for example, if anybody uses Dropbox, Dropbox is not a big enterprise sales type of thing. It's people start using it and they start sharing it. It's kind of an organic sort of a thing. So that's kind of what we're seeing, is the adoption is almost coming from the ground up within the studios instead of from the top down. But I think oftentimes this type of technology is going to get driven by the production company, the people who really need to pull all this information together, and they will invite the studio or maybe the network to collaborate. But it's really the production company that's driving the use of this technology.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add to that is that we found is that, there's a tremendous amount of inertia in the industry, because the production tools that have been in use have been in use for about 20 years. So there are a lot of people who are very reluctant to give those up. And then also sometimes the production tools that they bring to market comprise their box rental, and people don't want to jeopardize that. So, a system like this, I think, is more top-down. Let's get, everyone on board. And I think, quite honestly, in the successes that we've had, it's been people who are willing to change their mindset about how the information is shared, what they're going to be, how they're going to be working going forward. And we've actually had the best luck with the younger crowd. In fact, if someone is under 30, they are eating this up and using it tomorrow. And if they're, over 40, they're more reluctant. However, a caveat to that is that the people who we've met who are, interacted with who are over 40 are usually executives, and they have to go into a committee and sell it, so they can't move quite as quickly.
Let me ask you something. There's because I know that there is a video component on Scenios. Is there a video component on Lightspeed?
No, there is not. There is for post-production, we basically act as an archive.
So I guess then Mark, just for you, with respect to the video component, I mean, I'm imagining if somebody's posting dailies, for instance, on the site, am I going to have an issue with having too much information or files that are too big on my computer, so that when I try to open one, it takes forever to download? Like sometimes when I go on YouTube, sometimes it takes forever for something to download.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't recommend uploading dailies. I know, Jeff, for your show, you use 6-camera ISO cam, right? I mean, how much data are you generating for one episode?
I'm just working on clip reels. I load up the edit master when we're finished the show, and our audience cutaway for logging, but not all 6 cameras.
Yeah, I mean, the data is just so huge. I mean, I know for one of your episodes, just when it's finished, it's 100 gigs, right? The thing you hand to the network. So yeah, we definitely don't recommend uploading dailies. If people want to and they have the bandwidth, fine. But really, what we recommend is keep your dailies local in your your editing system or your collaboration system with video, and upload maybe just rough cuts or particular scenes that people need to look at, and also the final productions as well.
But there aren't limitations on the size of the files when you're doing that?
There's not on our side. It's just
Okay.
the limitations on people's bandwidth.
Got it.
Can you really upload a 100 gig file?
Got it. Thanks. Yes.
Sorry to go again. I loved, Mark, I think it was yours who had like the preferences of the travel preferences. I thought that was a neat feature. Have either of you guys considered adding another element of travel tracking or a way for people to see, flight tracking, not individual flight, but like flying in and out of town, hotels, cars, that kind of stuff, like those elements? Have you guys considered that, McGilla?
Yeah, I know for us, if you go to Scenios.com, you'll actually see a little something called App Store, where people can add new apps that are relevant to their production. So we've thought about adding something related to travel and coordinating travel for the cast and crew. We haven't yet, but we've got the flexibility to add those types of apps. And really what we do is we take feedback from users, and we sort of rank it and figure out what are the most requested features. So technically it's possible, we just haven't done it yet.
You had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, is there a way to get some kind of app where you could integrate like the studio distribution list into that, so that you press that button and the call sheets go to who and this goes to that? That would be really useful, because the VPOs for the studios and networks, you have to do it anyway.
Yeah, actually, I didn't have time to show it, but you saw the cast and crew, the way it was broken out into each section. You can actually add different sections, so you could have cast and crew, and you could add studio or network, and you could create different groups for each, and then you can distribute stuff automatically just to that distribution list.
And there's similar functionality within Lightspeed. Basically, you can add whomever you want.
Yes, sir.
Question on the reports you guys generate in your separate entities. Do those reports, when you generate them, kind of reference back to kind of the information you've already got uploaded there? I guess a specific instance would be if you've got a call sheet, right, and you've got a location that you previously loaded. Can, say, my driver on the ground say, okay, let me pull up that call sheet and hit, a link in that call sheet, and immediately it pulls up where it is? Is that kind of functionality available, or works, or?
Basically, yeah, because since we're on our side, we're assembling the call sheet ourselves from all the underlying information. There are links to every piece of underlying information, and one of the things, I mean, I'll be honest, the call sheet was one of the more difficult things for us to create, because you show a call sheet to 90 people, and 90 people are going to give you different answers as to what they want it to contain. So it's a constant struggle, and we're still working on making it better. But at the very least, we do have that.
We have time for one more, yeah?
What are the costs related to both of these programs? I'm just wondering, does everybody who accesses it or uses it have to either pay, or how does everybody access it? You mentioned the free trial, it lasts for like more than 30 days. I'm just wondering, like, as a production manager, is it something I should buy myself, or would my company buy it?
Well, I'll answer for Lightspeed. No, for Scenios, it's really simple. Basically, it's free. So any user can go in and set up a free Scenios account, and your account is free, forever. The cost comes in for the production company. So it's based on a project. So you would buy one project at a time, and the pricing is really low. The pricing is right on the website, but I'll just sum it up. It's based on the number of users. So if it's 15 users for a small indie, for example, commercial, it's $99 per year. And it goes up to, for 100 users, it's $4.99 per year. And then you can re-up it after a year. And we do also have an unlimited plan for unlimited number of users. If you work on multiple projects, TV series, for example, maybe you want to have an unlimited number of projects, and that begins at, I think, $2.99 per year. So, these are, relative to your production budget, these are small numbers.
Yeah, and in a similar way, we always kind of joke that the budget for our software products is less than what you're going to spend on water for craft services. But with Lightspeed, the one thing I encourage everyone, I'll just plug it right now, is you can go on our website and get a free demo. Just get a free trial. And if you work in the feature world, there's a feature free trial. And if you work in the television world, there's a TV series free trial. And the TV series free trial allows you to set up 5 different episodes. And you can go and play with that. And each one, I think, allows 5 individuals that you can invite. So you can have a small group sharing the information. Our pricing begins at $75 a month for an independent feature. And what we do is it's kind of based on the same concept of scope, scale, number of users. And it goes all the way up. I think our highest price is just under $500 a month if you're someone like Avatar 2. Now, part of that is because we do have the automatic text messaging, and there is a cost that we have to absorb for that.
Yeah.
Mitzi.
Oh, hi, Mitzi. Sorry.
Are you on the PG&E East Green side as a vendor?
We're not. We
Okay,
probably should
well,
be.
let's talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
neither are we, but we're looking into it. We'd love to talk to you about that.
Yeah, you should. This is one of the perfect solutions to going green. Well, I thank you, all 3 of you, for being here. I really do. And Sony and Cruise Control for being generous sponsors. And so come have a drink and talk to these guys a little bit more. Thanks again for coming tonight.